for me, I've said, and I think fairly, I think I'm being fair here, that injury prone is a fair label to assign to Joe Burrow. So for that reason, because we have seen Joe Burrow miss time, and when we start talking about confidence tiers, I think that Joe Burrow is a better quarterback than Dak, for example. But I cannot put him in the rock solid confidence tier of Mahomes until I know that he's just not going to battle injuries. Like I think injuries are a concern for me. Do I think I think Joe Burrow is the second best quarterback in the NFL. I will die on that hill. I think Joe Burrow has the chance to make the Bengals the second best team in the NFL. However, I am nervous year in and year out about, is Joe going to have some lingering thing that impacts his performance in any way, shape, or form? So I would love to put the confidence of Mahomes into it, but the injury part of it, if we're being fair, if the same injuries that occurred to Lamar, we would be trashing Lamar all the time. We do trash Lamar, and his injuries came in the pocket. They didn't even come running the football, and people aren't smart enough to recognize that. So, just to be honest for a second, if Joe Burrow was an athletic black quarterback that ran the football, we would just be destroying. Oh, can't pay him, can't trust him, because he plays more prototypically than that and looks more like a normal, prototypical quarterback, I should say. Then in that moment, I think it gets less grief.
Probably, but I think my go-to with this is always Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford's first 2-3 years in the NFL, he got that injury-prone label. Oh, is this guy going to be durable enough? And then he became an Iron Man, basically. He's had injuries here and there because he plays quarterback in the NFL, and that's going to happen. But I do think that sometimes you just get bad luck. I
agree with that.
So I have Burrow easily in the Mahomes category here. I get the injury concerns, though. It's piling up. At some point, it's like, oh, well, there's been the ACL, and then the calf last year really, really affected him in the first month and a half. And then the wrist injury, which we have no idea yet if he's going to bounce back fully from, which I think he will, but we don't know until we see it. I get it. I get where you're coming from. But to me, it's just, he's so good. I have no concerns about him going forward, and you just hope for better luck on the injury front.
I don't disagree with that. If he's healthy, then absolutely he belongs in that same category. Where are you on the Vikings this year with their quarterback situation?
Probably in the Derek Carr, better than nothing. I hate to slam Sam Darnold. He seems like a nice guy and all that. I always say, he's just not an NFL starting quarterback. So I don't even. Whatever. At some point, the Vikings are just going to say, we got to go to McCarthy. We can't keep doing this. And it's probably going to come when Addison's back from his suspension and Hawkinson's about ready to come back from his ACL. Give him full complement of players. Give him a chance to succeed. So we're talking, to me anyway, about JJ McCarthy here. And I don't know necessarily that I have him in that Dak. I can't put him in that category of, hey, yeah, we feel pretty good about this. I'm not there with him yet. The volume at Michigan was so low that he played well. I get that. Obviously, they were a good team, but they were a really good team. I don't know that he necessarily carried them anywhere. So I still have questions about McCarthy. I think he's in a good spot. I think he's got a good coach to develop him, but I'm still not quite there. But I'm not panicking either. I'm not oh God, JJ McCarthy's the next Christian Ponder. I don't think that's going to happen. So I feel fine. Feel okay. Feel all right.
Okay. I like how he channeled his high me voice there. Okay,
I did. I really did. Yeah, it's rubbing off. Yeah.
Yeah, you're too generous. That's the only way to say this. I love the coach, right? I love Kevin O'Connell.
He's good.
And I love what he was able to do last year with quarterbacks that barely belong in the league. So I give him a ton of benefit of the doubt. But right now, if we were in Vegas and we were dabbling, right, we were going to put a little money and there was a category for this where in 5 years, do you believe that the Vikings have they have someone on their current roster that will be a superstar quarterback? I wouldn't place that bet. JJ might. I mean, there's just, to your point, not enough volume of work. We have no idea what it really looks like. It feels like there was a lot of benefit of the doubt given in that situation. I just don't know. I don't know with JJ. And I know with Sam Darnold, I'm not scared. So I'm scared of the coach because I think the coach is great. But also, I didn't love what I thought was a reach at quarterback. We all knew it was going to happen at some point. But JJ might turn out to be great, but that was a huge gamble to me. So if I had to right now pick a category I think that the Vikings are in, it's kind of in the Nathan Peterman. Until I see something from JJ, I can't give him any benefit of the doubt right now. What the hell do we even know? And it's funny because we sat there and as a community, a lot of people trashed CJ Stroud coming out of college because they felt like he didn't show enough athletic ability outside the pocket. And he addressed that when he was getting drafted at one point, saying, we spend hours on these plays practicing them and you want me to to run to show you something? Like, he answered those concerns, and people still held that against him. It's funny how these little seeds of doubt, they grow from out of nowhere. I at least can understand, hey, we saw in the playoffs that CJ addressed all of that. He was the athletic monster that we know he can be. And frankly, a much better quarterback in my mind than JJ is right now. So everything with JJ is speculative in my mind. So I just wonder why we don't have the same standard of curiosity when it comes to CJ Stroud versus JJ McCarthy. Yet again, it just feels like the goalposts move on this, and everyone's like, oh, no, JJ's going to be great. Okay, based on what? When's the last time you saw a great quarterback in college, like an absolute juggernaut, Hall of Fame caliber, top quarterback in the game, hand off every single play? And I know that was part of their strategy, and I get why they did it. Michigan fans beat me up for this all the time. I get why they did it. I'm sorry. If you had Peyton Manning in Tennessee back in the day, you didn't hand the ball off every play in the second half, even if that's what you needed to do. You just didn't do it. I believe Harbaugh's a smart coach. I believe that he found ways to get around some of the deficiencies, and I believe we're giving JJ McCarthy a ton of benefit of the doubt. I hope he wins, but right now, if I had to bank on it, I wouldn't make that bet at all.
Interesting. And I think part of it is the whole quarterback wins illogical way we look at quarterbacks. Like, Michigan won because they're a great football team. Like, we got to remember football's a team game. We're like, JJ McCarthy won a national title. No, Michigan won a national title. Like, there's a difference. So I get where you come from there, but I'm a little higher and willing to give him benefit of the doubt. And part of that is a coach. I just think the coach is going to develop him really, really well.
It's the only time in history Frank has ever said I'm a little higher than me, and he's been right. We're talking about football, only talking about football. Let's get one more in here. The Broncos.